Hey everyone, I'm Bella Hernandez, and today I'll be talking about Alice Augusta Ball and her discoveries that she made for the leprosy world in the 20s and 30s. So, Alice Ball, an African American chemist whose work was treating for leprosy, was stolen and hidden from the world for nearly a century, and only in recent decades that her name began to resurface again. Alice Ball struggled not just because of the scientific struggles she faced, but because of discrimination in the early 1900s as a Black woman. Her journey is very important to share because it highlights the injustice that many women of color in science have faced and still do to this day. During the speech, I'll share Alice Ball's early life, her major achievements, and the positive and negative effects of her contributions to science. So let's talk about her early life. So she was born in Seattle, Washington in 1892 into a supportive and educated family. From an early age, Alice really loved science and she was a very curious girl. She then went on to earn degrees in pharmaceuticals and pharmacy at the University of Washington before moving to Hawaii. There she became the first woman and first African American to earn a master's degree from the University of Hawaii, and later the school's first female chemistry professor. Her time in Hawaii is where she began her interest in leprosy research. According to the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, Alice Ball developed an injectable extract of Chalumegra oil, which was really the first truly effective treatment for leprosy at that time. Until that time, leprosy really took people into isolation, and you were really just by yourself because of the disease. And this way of injecting oil was just a new, profound way of helping cure it. Alice's treatment became known as the Ball method, a chemical breakthrough where she changed the oil to make it more water soluble and injectable into the body, and this allowed the body to really absorb the medicine more effectively, reducing harmful things and ultimately making the treatment more successful. As the New York Times reports, her method became the most widely used treatment for leprosy in the 20s and 30s. It was distributed all around the world and allowed countless patients to be treated. And her innovation was definitely ahead of its time and remained the gold standard until antibiotics were introduced in the 40s. Her success took a turn after she passed away at just 24 years old in 1916. Probably due to chemical exposure. And even worse, after her passing, Arthur L. Dean, another chemist, took credit for her work, known as the Dean method. Stole the last name, stole everything. And he claimed all the research on his own. For decades, her name was forgotten. According to the University of Hawaii, Alice Ball didn't receive her credit until 2000, more than 80 years after her death. It took 3 decades of historical research before her name was publicly restored. That delay is kind of like a reminder of how now it's even crazy to think about someone not getting credit for their hard-earned work, and I feel like that's a reminder of how easily women's and particularly Black women's contributions can be buried by racism and sexism, because I feel like the world was just too forgetful to remember that, Alice Ball made this discovery and not Dean. But despite these obstacles, her legacy precedes her. She's now honored with a plaque at the University of Hawaii and even has a day named after her called the Alice Ball Day on February 29th, which is a rare date for a truly rare mind. Basically, she was very brilliant at a young age who overcame gender discrimination to make one of the most important medical discoveries to the time of the 20s and 30s. Her early life in Seattle, her historic education and teaching all made her who she was, which was a great chemist and a great person. Alice Ball was a pioneer and a hero to the leprosy community, and she really was changing the game at such a time where, leprosy wasn't too known yet, and that cure changed a lot of people's lives. But that's her story, and I hope everyone enjoyed. Yeah, bye now.